Welcome to the Orange Hammer Podcast. My name is Corbett Storick. I've been a licensed general contractor for 8+ years, specializing in new construction, renovation, furniture building. I'm the son of an architect and an interior designer, and I've been surrounded in this industry since birth, watching all aspects from concept, design, build, punch list, and of course, all the problems that come up in between. In my time in Durham, North Carolina, I've noticed a significant gap in knowledge between homeowners who need work and the people who do the work. On this podcast, I hope to break down the process of homeownership from the perspective of both the homeowner and the contractor in an effort to help raise the knowledge of homeowners about their homes and the construction/renovation process. I hope you enjoy. If you're enjoying the Orange Hammer Podcast, or if you have a topic that you want covered, or have recently done a project, please contact the Orange Hammer Podcast. The Orange Hammer Podcast is on Instagram and Facebook. Please like and subscribe, share on whatever platform you're enjoying your podcast on. Also, check out our YouTube channel, The Orange Hammer. The Orange Hammer Podcast is proud to be brought to you by CRS Contracting LLC for all your construction and handyman needs, new buildings to renovations, furniture building, EV charger install, or even a TV mounted. You can call me, Corbett Storick. It'd be my pleasure to help you. You can find me on Instagram at CRS Contracting. WSDG, the Walter Storick Design Group, specialists in architectural and acoustical consulting. Check out WSDG.com. And Taylor Bragg, for all your artistic needs in all mediums. You can find her on Instagram at brag_about_art. That's brag, BRGG, with 2 G's. She's the fantastic artist behind the Orange Hammer logo, and she did my fantastic table painting of my podcasting table. Everybody, welcome to, episode 54. Man, they have been flying by. Kim, how are you today?
I'm doing awesome. How about you?
I am doing very well. Thank you so much for coming. I know we had to rearrange a couple of times, but here we are. It's very cool. And I guess just right off the gate, we got to just shout out Amanda Jordan and the social rap networking event.
Right. I actually just got off the phone with Philip. This morning.
Yeah, Philip.
I
forget his last name, but Carter for all your IT stuff.
Nerds to go.
Nerds to go. Yeah, it's such a great name. Yeah. But yeah, without that networking group at that pretty cool tavern, we would not have linked up at all.
No.
So
I met a lot of really great people there.
Yeah, if you're in the Triangle and you're listening, or even I guess technically outside of what we would deem the Triangle, you should definitely get in touch with the RAP or RAP networking group.
And they're on Facebook.
Their Facebook presence is huge. It's free. It's fun. You just show up, you throw on a name tag, you bring 100 business cards, and you hope you run out.
Right.
And it's that simple.
I always meet 1 or 2 great connections there every time I go, new connections.
Yeah. I've definitely... you get a pile of business cards for sure. Not all of them become like fun and cool and meaningful connections, but I think you're right. At least 2, maybe even 3 per event.
The same people I feel like consistently go. There's always a group that consistently goes, but they invite other people, which is fantastic.
Yeah, but I don't mind that little consistency group because like I've only been to 2 of them, but for me it's like I'm driving 40 minutes to a town I don't know, to a place I've never been. So it's actually kind of nice to walk in the door and be like, oh yeah, that's Dustin from like the other event and his competitor, the other dumpster guy from the other event. And like, they're like, oh yeah, we're at every one. We use this as like a social event. And I was like, that's cool.
And they change locations every time, which is great.
Yeah.
So we get to experience different venues.
That seems to be, at least in my personal experience, unique to the rap event because all the other ones that I go to, which I'm a fan of all the other ones, but they're like this day, this time, once a month, same location. Yep. And I went to one of them that I can't even remember. And I was like, okay, well, there's 7 of us. 1 I met at a different networking event, and I drove like 50 minutes to this brewery in Raleigh. This was not worthwhile.
And so they will have it in Youngsville. Like we had the gun club last week.
Yep, that one was cool.
And next time they'll have it at Toro's.
Yeah. So forgive me. I didn't actually go to the wrap at the gun club, but I went to Amanda's in a BNI, and they had.
She was in my BNI.
There you go.
Yeah.
Your BNI. Oh.
Our BNI.
The Youngsville BNI, I guess.
Franklinton. We're north. Wake North.
Wake North. Okay, that's its like technical term. Okay, gotcha. Because I got called from the North Durham one, I guess, technically. I forgot the technical name. It's irrelevant.
I don't even think I said the name of it right, because it's probably not it.
It doesn't matter. But that's how I know about that gun club that you mentioned, because they had a BNI meeting there the week before they did the RAP networking event.
Have you ever been there to visit? To the gun club?
Like just to shoot? No, I actually had no idea what BNI was and thought that it was a similar social event.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like, oh, so we're going to like do some group shooting and pass out some business cards. And then
could have after.
We could have after, yes. But after an hour and like 40 minutes of, very structured business meeting that I was simply not at all prepared for and did not want to be at and did not really benefit from, I was ready to leave and go away from there. But I got a quick tour. I met
Ivy and Kurt.
It must have been Ivy, because it was a lady, so I'm assuming it was Ivy. But she gave me and my buddy Glenn, who I brought with me to the event. He's my like merchandising guy. Shout out Glenn, a Merch Mania.
I met him.
Yeah.
At Home Slice.
Yes, I brought him to that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to email him this week. Thank you for reminding me.
He will be happy to help you out. And I mean, yes, he's my personal merch dude, and he's become a buddy. But he's actually really good at what he does. Like it's I have more than one person, because sometimes he's busy or sometimes he really just can't beat the price.
I need some. I'm doing a golf event for the women.
Perfect.
And I need him to make me some hats.
Perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. He can do like the screen print or the embroidery, whatever you need. Yeah, he's fantastic.
He told me embroidery is the way to go.
I would. I mean, these are embroidered. I like them.
Okay.
Yeah, they seem to last longer, like through more wear and tear.
No fading.
Yeah, he did me some screen printed ones, and they came off after 4 or 5 washes. And I was like, well, obviously that's not going to work.
Do embroidery.
And he was like, well, here's a refund. And do you want to do embroidery? And I was like, absolutely. Let's make it happen. But yeah, it was no complaints.
Thanks for that reminder, though.
Absolutely.
I'm going to put it on my to-do list today.
If Glenn's listening, which he should be, he should call you right now. No, I'm just kidding. This isn't live. So for listeners, what do you do?
I do health insurance.
Right.
For self-employed, small business owners, individuals, and families.
Right. And that's, it makes sense why you were at that networking event, because it is geared to specifically small businesses.
Yes.
Who, you are obviously more intelligent about it than me, but they don't know, not everyone who runs a small business has taken a lot of time to look into the health insurance options and incentives that there may be when they're running their small business, doubly so if they have employees.
So I do private.
Right.
So I'm a broker. I can write marketplace, but I also have my own private that I contracted with. So I would rather do private health insurance than do marketplace, because their deductibles are very high and their prices are very high. So unless you have had a heart attack or cancer, there's no reason to be on a guaranteed issue plan like marketplace.
Okay, so I didn't understand any of that, so we're going to break that down. Yeah, so if I didn't get it, I'm sure a few of my listeners are like, that was German.
I didn't get it either when I first started.
Well, this is literally why you're here, because this is not homeownership and construction, but it's just as important about how your everyday life is taken care of. Your insurance is not like a fun thing, but it's a required thing. So you can't just throw it to the side like I did when I was in my early 20s. And, it comes back to haunt you when you don't pay attention to it. So first thing, let's break down marketplace versus private. So I know enough to know that the marketplace is like the government option.
Right. Obamacare,
The Obamacare,
ACA,
yes.
there's other names for it. And everybody waits for open enrollment.
Right. The open enrollment.
Open enrollment. Then you go get your health care. Then you get your subsidy if you qualify for it.
Okay.
I just did a video actually about this. A lot of people will get a subsidy where they're paying $0 or they're paying, $4 or something like that. And they have health insurance, they say. But if something happens to them, they still have to pay that deductible. So for outpatient procedures such as, your doctor visits, your x-rays, your lab work, let's say you cut your finger and need stitches, you are going to be paying out of pocket until you meet your deductible. So there's very high deductibles on Marketplace unless you get a lower deductible and pay a higher premium.
Okay, so let's again break that down to, let's be polite and call it simpler terms.
Layman's terms.
Because I like to say, talk to me like I'm stupid, but that's not polite. So I need you to talk to me like I'm younger, I guess. So, okay, deductible, that's the amount that you're going to pay until the insurance kicks in.
Correct.
Okay, so I don't know. I think this might be the number I'm thinking for my car insurance, but I think like my car insurance deductible is $500. So for layman's terms,
you'll pay $500 and then they'll pay the rest of it.
They'll pay from 501 up till whatever the amount might be.
Is. Correct.
Right. Okay. So what's and please don't think too hard because we're just trying to do an example here. But like, what's an average deductible for Marketplace?
For somebody that doesn't want to pay anything, they're probably going to get a bronze plan.
Okay.
And that would probably be, they pay $0, but they'd pay $8,700 for a deductible.
Okay, so that's insane to think that if
for
you
an
got
individual,
hurt,
for a family, it's $17,400. I think it's up to. It might be $17,001.
The deductible.
The deductible for a family.
Okay, so think about that for listeners. Think about that for a perspective. If you're a family, okay, my painter has 5 kids.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's not. It's just the way he chooses to live. It's not how I want to live. But
not having 5 kids is insane. The deductible is insane.
I thought you were saying having 5 kids was insane. I was like, no, it's not. It's not what I would do. But it's his. Yeah. So his deductible is, it could be $25,000 that he has to literally shell out of pocket for his. I don't know. Let's just make it up.
And kids get into accident. That's kids
right. His daughter breaks a leg
right.
just on the soccer field. Like it doesn't have to be, takes a line drive in softball practice, trips at camp. Like it could just be something innocent. Right. But I have no idea what a broken leg costs. But I know
$5,000 to $6,000.
Okay, so that means that $5,000 to $6,000 just has to be paid out of pocket.
That's right.
So that is, in this guy's opinion, insane. Because unless you're very wealthy, and if you don't have that chilling.
If you're getting a subsidy, you can't afford. If you are getting a subsidy, you probably don't have $5,000 or $6,000 sitting in the bank then.
No, because other's you wouldn't. Well,
need the subsidy.
You wouldn't need the subsidy. I didn't want to say that so plainly.
Some people might have some savings, but more times than not, no.
Yeah, I mean, I get subsidy, but it's not. I'm nowhere near to zero.
And we had a meeting the other day, and interesting fact: 82% of people on the Marketplace never meet their deductible. So they're paying this insane amount of money. Let's say they're not getting a subsidy. Let's say it's an individual and they're paying $700 or $800 a month. They never meet their deductible. So they're paying their premium, but they're also paying $25 to go to the doctor for their copay, or $50 or $60 for the specialist, plus their lab work, their x-rays. Whatever, let's say they cut themselves and need stitches. They're paying out of pocket for all of that.
But isn't all that significantly cheaper through the plan? So or is it still a scam? I'm confused what exactly you were saying right there.
So they're going to pay for whatever the price is until they meet their deductible.
Yeah, if anybody heard that moan, it was the damn studio dog, Willie Bear, is not getting enough attention. So he is literally moaning right next to us.
He doesn't have his rope.
Yeah, he doesn't have his rope. Yeah.
So I offer private health plans. My plans are different than Marketplace. We are defined benefit plans. So you get what they call like a bucket of money. So you have a certain amount of money that you are allotted to use for certain procedures. We also built into your portal, you can shop around, price shop. In 2020, they passed where they have to tell you how much a procedure is. So with our plans, we go on and we look up a doctor. We find, let's say, hip replacement, $46,000 or something like that. We could shop around and find the least expensive, and you would get more bang for your buck on the plans that I have, because you get a certain amount towards those procedures.
So who is providing this insurance?
So I go through Philadelphia American Life Insurance. They have been around for almost 100 years. They are owned by New Era Life, and they are Medicare. They're the 5th largest Medicare company in the United States.
Okay, so
it's a separate entity than New Era, but so that's the brokerage I go through.
Does New Era also work with the marketplace? Do they have two branches?
Yes. So New Era does our portal, but New Era also does Medicare.
And when you say this word portal, do you mean like some online portal
that
type
I
of
go
thing?
through to do my quotes?
Okay, I assumed, but I just wanted to double check, because like nowadays that's the world. Building permits, it's a portal. Buying lumber, Talbert's, it's a portal to pay. Like everybody's got a portal and a login, and everybody's password is password. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so, and maybe you don't know, but why would you said the New Light or New Era?
New Era.
Why would New Era be in both? Why would they be allowing you to sell them as private insurance, and why would they be involved with the marketplace to also be doing that? Wouldn't it behoove them?
They're not involved in marketplace.
Oh, I just asked you that, and you said we misunderstood each other. Okay. So they're not involved with the marketplace
New Era is a
at
company,
all.
and they own. So they are Philadelphia American's a separate entity.
Okay.
So they're their own company.
And they are involved with the marketplace.
No, we are not. So we don't. So 80% of people qualify for my plans, unless you have had cancer or have had a heart attack, some kind of heart issue. Then you need to be on a marketplace plan or some kind of guaranteed issue plan. I know other private companies do have some guaranteed issue. We have guaranteed issue plans too that we go through. USA health plans. We can write those. We've got other plans that we can write as well.
Okay. So,
but these are all PPO. So if you do go on Marketplace, this is another thing with Marketplace.
What's PPO stand for?
Preferred Physicians Option.
Okay.
And then the other one is, I think so. And then the other one is Health Maintenance Organization with the HMO.
Oh, okay.
So that's,
I've heard HMO.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what most of the Marketplace is going to be, is HMO. So they're going to tell you what doctors and hospitals to go to. So you get your, I'm not even going to say what name, but one of those on Marketplace that you get, Blue Cross Blue Shield or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I have Blue Cross, and it was just kind of assigned to me, and then even
and they do offer PPOs on there, but those are very expensive. Like for an individual, for you and your age, probably it'd be $1,200 for a PPO. But you can choose your doctors and hospitals, and if you go out of the state, then you're covered. Now with if you just get the HMO here, they tell you, okay, these are your doctors you can go to. Here's your list. And that's nobody wants that.
Yeah, I got forced to switch basically, it was all through Marketplace, and this is several years ago as well. But I think on Armana, maybe.
Aetna?
I can't. What's it?
Aetna?
No, that's not ringing a bell, but I also could have just forgotten. But whatever it was, they were sending me to Duke. Go to Duke, go to Duke, go to Duke, go to Duke. Yeah. And I was like, cool, great. My sister-in-law works there, awesome. And then just 1 year, new Marketplace, new rules, new regs. They switched me to Blue Cross, and they were like, now you're UNC. And I was like, but I've been going to the same Duke lady who knows me and like literally sees my sister-in-law, sees my mother when she's in town. And now if I want to go see her, it's like all out of pocket. hundreds and hundreds of dollars
We
for
should
her to
talk.
just do a physical.
We should talk.
So I just, yeah, we should. So I just switched and was like, okay, fine. And I found a UNC doctor and he's fine. You know, like I'm relatively young and healthy. So it's like not the hugest concern, but I will not stay young and healthy for eternity.
But it's those out-of-pocket costs that hurt people. So I just met with a business and how old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay. They're like 26, 27 years old. And they never, the big thing was they won't go to the doctor because they don't want to pay for their copays. They don't want to pay for their x-ray. You know, they'll cut their finger and they'll put it's an HVAC company. They'll put duct tape on it.
I mean, construction, that's standard.
I know. Yeah, they do their own stitches.
Electrical tape, duct tape, it works wonders. Super glue, it's beautiful.
Oh,
my
gosh.
And super glue does work. Go to the doctor, everybody, but like super glue does work very well for cuts.
That's what I heard.
Minor cuts.
I don't think I'm going to try that.
Well, no, it's like it says on the thing, like not harmful for the human body. Like it will. It's like it's like
so
good
you're
for
own doctor.
Good for a survival situation, not everyday life.
Right. Yeah. I've seen some movies they do that.
There you go. I've done it, like small cuts where I'm just like that is not a medical attention situation, but it's just in a spot that
it's gonna bleed.
Yeah, I know it'll open up because it's like in the crease of the finger or something. So like it's just like little super glue, wait 4 minutes, hold it. Okay, we're good. Like stronger than the skin. Yeah. Now you know.
That works.
Yeah.
So if I ever cut myself, I'll call you.
Yeah, there you go.
Super glue.
Yeah, and I'll tell you to go to the hospital because I know you've got insurance.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I will tell you a funny story. A couple of years ago, I did not have health insurance. I was an agent too, and I had to choose pretty much between my own health insurance and my daughter's horseback riding, which is very expensive per month.
Right, horseback riding is a pricey hobby.
So I'm like, you know what? I never go to the doctor. I don't need, even though I tell clients you need to have health insurance. I never go to the doctor. Well, I was in a major car accident. A 16-year-old hit me and totaled my car, and I got whiplash. And I got out. They called the ambulance, and I refused to get in that ambulance because I know it's going to cost me $5,000 or $6,000 to ride in that ambulance. So I did not go. So that was
so I have a couple of questions. So I was under the impression, which clearly I'm wrong. I was under the impression you were required to have health insurance of some kind, or you would get some sort of like taxes penalty.
Nope, that was a long time. I think that was over in 2018.
Okay, so it was a thing. I didn't just make it up.
No,
okay.
It was a thing.
Cool.
Yep, you had to have it, but now it's not a requirement.
It is no longer a requirement to have health insurance.
Nope, you did
okay.
not.
Okay. Simply did not know that. I'm not saying I'm going to cancel my health insurance. I definitely, there have been years where I just kept renewing it. Like I don't even go,
right.
But I need it because I'll get a fine. But like now
on your taxes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I remember that.
Because I believe one year I had like 5 months without health insurance. So I got whatever that equivalent. I had to pay the government more taxes that year. But this was obviously
another way for them to
many years ago. Oh, yeah. I'm a big fan of Uncle Sam. Yeah. Okay. So the second question that I had for you, only because of my own anecdotal experience where despite aggressive no, they made my grandfather get into the ambulance even though we were like, we don't want to take the ambulance. Now, it wasn't an insurance issue because it was covered, but I was under the impression that if you were under an accident and an ambulance was called, you legally had to go.
I don't know the answer to that.
But you didn't have to go.
I didn't have to go.
And you didn't get...
I refused.
Yeah, you weren't arrested or whatever.
Listen, I'm not paying $5,000.
Right, and you didn't get a bill.
To get in there. I will go myself. So.
Right, but what I guess I'm asking, you didn't get in trouble and you didn't get a bill.
No, I didn't call them. So.
Okay. Maybe it's because we called them.
Yeah.
That must be it.
Yeah.
That must be it. Okay. So somebody else just, you were in the accident, but you didn't call.
I did not call.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Because my grandfather had he kind of passed out. I think we found out later he had like a minor stroke.
Oh.
And we were like holding him up as he passed out while someone ran to get a chair. And we were just like freaked out. And we called 911 to be like, we need an ambulance to get my grandfather to the hospital.
Of course. Yeah.
As they showed up, he was fine. And we were like, okay, we'll drive him. And they were like, no, you called us. He's got to go.
I think they have to treat.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe that's the difference then, is because
Yeah,
we
I don't know
made
the
the call.
answer to that, but
Fair enough.
yeah.
Yeah. I was just curious because I had heard both of those as like, nope, no options. You've got to go.
Well, if you
and
go to the emergency room, they have to take you.
they have to admit you.
They have to admit you.
Oh.
They have to treat you.
In an ambulance. If you arrive in an
Or no,
ambulance.
if you arrive on foot, they have to treat you too.
That's not true, actually.
Even if you don't have.
That's not true, because my grandfather arrived in that ambulance and we never admitted him. So that's not true either.
No, I'm saying they have to take you. No matter, like if you want to be treated, let's say you go and you don't have health insurance, they have to take you.
Oh,
in an emergency.
This is separate.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying emergency rooms have to treat regardless of insurance.
Right. You don't have to show your card or anything. They have to treat you.
Oh, okay. Okay. So is that a reason why among real emergencies, is that a reason why emergency rooms are always slammed for people who don't have insurance, who know that they'll get seen?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Okay. See, I didn't know that.
And so last week I got a call from a client. He does heating and air, and he dropped a unit on his foot, and he's like, "Oh, we're on the way to the emergency room." Like, no, go to the urgent care. So
why?
Urgent care does outpatient things now too. They'll do stitches, they'll set your broken arm, and it's less expensive. So emergency rooms are very expensive if you go there.
Okay. Does it matter though with his insurance, with his health insurance?
There's certain amounts that you, like with our defined benefit plans, that you would get, and it depends on what plan you have. So you get a certain amount to go to the urgent care. I think it's $150 each visit. If you go to the emergency room, I think it's $250, but it's so expensive to go to the emergency room.
Right. So you have that extra 100, but it's going to cost way more out of your pocket after the $250. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. I definitely get it now. Okay. So you were like, so you informed him that way because you were like, you're going to get the same care, right, but it's going to cost you less, even though you might only have 100 of insurance kick in. The overall bill will be $2,000 instead of $6,000. So you're going to, $1,800 out of pocket instead of $5,800 out of pocket, something like that.
Yes.
Just making up numbers for listeners.
Always do urgent care first, unless you are having a heart attack or something.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, I've only been to the emergency room for myself once, and it was a car crash, whiplash situation, and it was like, honestly, I felt fine. And it was my ex-nurse sister-in-law who was like, I don't care if he feels fine. This is her talking to her husband, my brother, on speakerphone. It's like, I don't care if he feels fine. Take him to the ER right now. Like, he could wake up and his neck could be broken. He doesn't know. And I was like, God, why are you right?
Yes. I felt it. I don't know about you. I felt it instantly. I had to bend over and get my purse out of the trunk, and I was like, oh my God.
No, I felt fine. I was like completely fine. My airbags didn't even deploy. I wasn't in shock. I was just like, shit. Like I hit wet grass after running a stop sign that was covered by a tree branch.
Oh, no.
So I didn't brake at all. And like completely T-boned this. I'm in my huge truck, and there was like a 2-door Toyota. This thing folded up.
Okay?
Everybody was fine, but his car folded up like a piece of paper. I was shocked that he just got out of it, screaming, "Why didn't you stop?" I'm like, "You think I did it on purpose?" Look, see the tree branch over this? He's like, "Oh." Literally, he was like, "Oh," just like that. So much, in fact, that when the cops came, I got no ticket. They were like, "I'm supposed to write you." The lady said, what did she say? She said, I'm supposed to write you a ticket for running the stop sign. Because I just said immediately, I was like, I ran it 100%. Yeah, I was going 40 in a 40. I ran that thing. Didn't see it. Look, see the tree branch? She was like, okay. So she was like, I'm supposed to give you a ticket for running the stop sign. And then because I hit this dude, I took out the opposing traffic's stop sign with the side of my truck. So she's like, I'm supposed to write you a ticket for ripping out a stop sign, ripping out
totally out of your control.
Right. And then she was like, and then I'm supposed to write you a ticket because it's like you basically, if you can't move your car on your own power, you get a ticket. Because I needed a tow truck.
Yeah.
And she was like, you're not getting any. She was like, I'm not going to give you any tickets because that one's not really your fault. Yeah. And that led to that, and your truck is totaled. And I was like, I appreciate you. And then joking, but not so joking, I was like, who do we call about getting the tree branch
Right.
trimmed?
Who do you call? There's always places where
She
I'm
didn't
like,
have an answer.
I want to bring my trimmers and just, because I can't see around this corner, and just cut these bushes a little
Yeah,
bit.
she didn't have an answer. Like I don't remember the road, but it was somewhere in Apex. It was dark. This was 10 years ago. But, I called my brother. He was at a Christmas party. He was like, I'm on the way. Send a dot. He went and got me. And, of course, like I said, drove me to the ER, where I sat at the ER for 4 hours for them to
Send you home.
So they gave me an X-ray and an MRI. And then the doctor came in and he was like, you have an anomaly in your neck that we can't explain. And I was like, it was 4 a.m. at this point. I was like, and am I like good to go? And he was like, well, we've never seen anything like that before. And he like grabbed on my neck a lot and like, head to the side and back and forth. He was like, tell me if anything hurts. And he's like pressing and pressing and pressing. And I'm like, honestly, none of that really hurts. And he was like, we would rather look into this anomaly, but if you're telling me none of that hurts, we can't like make you take whatever's after an MRI. Or no, it was an X-ray.
So he didn't know, he saw something, but he didn't know what it was?
Exactly. And I can tell you right now, my neck is fine, and it's all good.
Because they wanted to do more X-rays, probably.
Yeah, he was like, either you can go or we have to do the MRI, because I had the X-ray.
Right.
And I was like, if you're telling me I'm fine, I'm getting out of here. It's 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And he was like, you're good, and that was 9 years ago, something like that. So
you look like you're walking pretty straight. So
yeah, it's one bum foot later. Yeah, but I mean, it was it's definitely not fun. It was good to know that I had the insurance, but now that I think about it, it was...
You still paid out of pocket for the MRI and the
Yeah,
X-ray.
it was a huge issue because, I was so young. My mom was definitely still helping me out 100%, and she got the bill, I think, from the emergency room for like 5 G's or something insane.
In those situations, too, I can help people that are on Marketplace with that kind of thing. If you need an MRI or an X, pretty much if you go MRI or a CAT scan, which are very expensive, there's plans I could write for $59 or $69 that will cover those things.
Oh, if you have enough preemptive to know you need one, is what you're saying.
Yeah, so if you plan ahead and you have to go in for something, then I have plans for that too. I have options for everything.
And those and like you plan on that person just acquiring that plan and then dropping it a month after the procedure?
You're not supposed to. You're supposed to keep them for 12 months, but you're not required to.
Okay, so if you're not required to, what's the supposed to?
They assume you're going to keep it for other procedures.
Okay. So did you just get yourself in trouble? No, I'm just kidding.
Not at all.
I'm just playing.
I'm just stating the facts.
Yeah. So really, since it's not your preferred, but you do Marketplace, everybody should be calling you to double check their insurance issues.
A lot of times people don't know that private health insurance exists.
I didn't know till now.
And honestly, so I owned a spa before COVID happened, and COVID shut my doors down. At that point, I had Blue Cross Blue Shield for me and my daughter, and I had 2 employees, and I paid half of theirs.
Okay.
I didn't know about anything else. All I knew was Marketplace. All I knew was open enrollment, And then I started working for a friend of mine that owned a satellite company through another private health insurance company. And I did recruiting, and I was sitting there, and I had one of the agents do a quote for me, and it was literally half of what I was paying. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me this before? It was like the greatest thing. They were underwritten plans as well. So it was just, it was really eye-opening for me. So I didn't know about it too, but it was great because I like to share.
Yeah,
I like to teach people about this.
I had simply no idea that there was health insurance outside of the Marketplace open enrollment.
It's about 50% less.
Yeah, so much in fact that I get text messages on a regular basis from an unknown number that are like, they're spam, but I thought they were a scam. in fact, they're people trying to sell me private health insurance
Right.
because I don't have to wait for the marketplace.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
So we enroll all year long.
Yeah. So
That's going to be my next video tomorrow
okay,
about that. Yep.
where
Not-
you're doing
I
videos
just
for like a
do it
YouTube
for-
page.
Yeah, I just do it for. I don't have a YouTube page yet.
Okay.
I just post, on my Facebook. I get most of my business from Facebook groups that I'm in, and I just post my videos on Facebook. Just stuff people should know that usually you don't know, like open enrollment. You don't
Yeah.
have to wait.
Yeah.
I can look at what you need now, and we can see if we can save you some money
Yeah.
and give you some better options.
And then now that the 2018 has passed and you don't have to have insurance or you'll get penalized, is it a big deal to, well, I'm more questioning about the marketplace. Is it a big deal to cancel your marketplace insurance? Is it difficult?
No.
No.
Nope, you don't get penalized. But if you do cancel it, you can't just hop back on it. You have to, if you do want to get back on that marketplace plan, if you need it, let's say you have to get chemo or something like that, you can't just hop back on it. So if you're in one of those situations where you have cancer, I wouldn't, definitely, why would you cancel it?
Right. You mentioned cancer and heart problems. They're still humans. They still need health insurance. Why can't you get them health insurance?
I can't write them because our plans are underwritten. So
Okay,
we are for
elaborate on what that means.
So our plans are going to be about 50% less than marketplace because they are geared more towards people that don't go to the doctors often. So we don't want somebody that has a pre-existing condition because they're high risk. We want people that are low risk.
Okay. So,
but I did write someone that was bipolar and had diabetes.
I was just going to ask about things like depression or
depression's
stuff
fine
because one out of it's like 5 out of 6 people are diagnosed with depression taking some sort of pill.
Right.
And that's
that's why I left my last company. They were underwritten plans, but it was so hard to get qualified. So during COVID, I went to the doctor and I got diagnosed with major depression. Who didn't have major depression? And they just threw some Effexor at me, like one of those pills. I could not take it. It was making me just not feel right. And the
shocker.
Yeah. The doctor said, just keep taking it. And I was like, no, I can't even function. Like,
Great
I don't even want to
doctor.
leave the house. Like,
Jesus.
I'm not taking this. So I stopped taking it, started going to the gym. Started going for a walk in nature, doing the normal things to make yourself feel good. Self-care.
Nobody likes to talk about that. Because that doesn't help the healthcare people. Yeah.
No, not at
Nobody
all.
likes to talk about so if you stopped eating garbage and ate natural grown food without pesticides
Then
and
you'd feel good.
walked and exercised very moderately on a regular basis and got some sunlight and took some vitamins.
Wow.
What a concept. Who knew? Everybody freaking knew. And we've known forever.
I just feel like when I walked in there, depression, here's some pills. Bye-bye. Yep, keep taking them. Oh, you don't feel good? Oh, no, just keep taking them. They haven't kicked in yet.
They haven't kicked in yet. Okay. I
was done.
Man.
I was done. So anyway.
I have to really bite my tongue. I don't like doctors.
I was very insulted because I did go to the gym and I am a healthier person. I just had that, I just wasn't feeling good because I was a little depressed during COVID. I was isolated like everybody else.
Yeah.
So I didn't get approved for the plan. So I, on my own, started researching other private. I was like, this can't be the only private health insurance out there.
How'd you find that private health insurance?
I went on LinkedIn and I found a referral partner that I had been using. So people that didn't qualify for these other underwritten plans that I worked for, I was sending him all of my business, like those other people, and he was writing them. So I was pretty much sending my clients away.
Right, before you realized they were your clients.
Yeah, and I was like, wait a second. And so I qualified for this plan, and I just thought that everybody should know about it. They're less money than the other place I worked for. And 80% of people qualify for it. These are people I'm around. normal everyday people, people that are going to working people that are trying to get by. They want to use their money for things like horseback riding lessons, vacations with their families. Why would you pay $800 for a plan when you could pay 2 or 3?
Right. So it will be cheaper, but there's no subsidy.
No subsidy,
Okay.
correct.
Right.
But your out of pocket is going to be covered.
No, I understand.
You're not going to be
we're just
paying the
throwing out facts.
There's
Yeah.
no deductible to meet for your outpatient procedures.
Right. But hypothetically, if you never went to the doctor in a calendar year due to no accidents, you would just be paying technically less, but not if your subsidy made it 0 and
Right.
you didn't have to pay that out-of-pocket
Right.
stuff. No, I get that it's all a dice roll.
You know what?
Yeah.
If you're paying 0 and you never go to the doctor, good for you.
Well, obviously, that's not a very realistic example.
It's not.
I think even when I had the worst financial world I was in, I still had to pay like $27 a month for my health insurance. But I do remember the numbers not being good, because I remember looking at the numbers like that's still a tremendously large amount of money if I needed to go to the emergency room. Like, wait, I got to come up with $2,500. That's a blink of the eye in an emergency room. Yeah. That's not even one MRI, which you could need in the emergency room. Or
and it's also really hard for self-employed people to guess what they're going to make. So you have to tell them how much you're going to make each month. A lot of unemployed people, self-employed people, it changes every month. So
Yeah.
I just had somebody call me last week. They owe $8,000 on their taxes because they were getting a subsidy. I did tell them at the beginning, every 3 to 4 months, look at your bank statements, adjust and call the marketplace, make sure you're telling them so they can adjust your subsidy. He never did that. So at the end of the year, when he had to go pay his taxes, because you have to file you have to file your insurance with your taxes,
right,
for a marketplace. And he wound up owing $8,000 because he never adjusted it.
Do you not have to file your insurance if it's not marketplace?
No, you still, because you can write it off on your taxes if you're self-employed.
Ah,
Yeah.
Okay. So okay. So it really would benefit.
It really
really
there's
adds
a lot
up.
of benefits.
Right. So
for
you could
having,
get, so like to recap,
Yes,
right?
recap.
To recap, hypothetically going from marketplace to private, you could pay simply just physically less every month.
About 50% less.
Yeah. And it could be 50% even with your subsidy. It depends on where you are and what your subsidy is.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get significantly less deductibles, which could be like for those who get confused by the wording, that's what you pay out of pocket first.
Correct.
So that amount is lower. So your $2,000 that you got to come up with could be $500 for the emergency room. And then what about choice in coverage? You still have to obviously get doctors pre-approved and checked. They take your insurances.
So there's over 700,000 doctors and hospitals in our network. We use the First Health Network.
Okay.
And that is a PPO network. So that network is actually owned by Aetna. So you don't use the Aetna network, but they are owned by Aetna. Here goes another entity.
Okay.
But we are able to look up any doctors and hospitals near your zip code. If you're going on vacation, I have clients call me and say, hey, I'm going to Florida. We're going to this zip code. Can you give me an urgent care that's going to be near here? So you're prepared.
That's real smart.
Yes.
I never even thought of that.
Because you'll get if you're in network, you'll get the in-network discount, which is about 50%. If you're out of network, it's okay. You still get a benefit paid towards the doctor visit.
Right. You're not just left out in the cold.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
But as far as people listening and me in the triangle, I'm assuming everything you're writing, I can go to Duke and UNC and these major people without having any issues, and everything's in network.
Yep. And you could also request that they be in network. So I just wrote a business, and they all go to this chiropractor, and we submitted a request that she accept the insurance, and she accepted. So now they all can go there.
Oh, okay.
It's
So
very easy.
that seems like a real benefit for your for people who go to a talk therapist when they change, because I have had to go through it, and I have friends who have had to go through it who have only had to change their perfectly good and liked therapist because of insurance
Right.
issues.
You have to start all over. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to, and that's true with women and their gynecologists.
Right. That's
Nobody
another
wants
one.
to change.
Yeah, that's terrible. Especially like, you have to learn your doctor has to learn you, and that takes time, and now you have to just start that over.
Correct.
So you're saying that you can be like, okay, before I switch over, double check that this doctor either is in or can be, or we can send them a letter to move them, have them accept
Very
more
simple.
insurances, basically. Right.
Very simple.
And then in turn, that doctor can get more clients because they take more insurances. So it's kind of a win-win all the way around.
Correct. Plus, we pay benefit towards functional medicine and all that. So I know.
What do you mean by functional medicine?
More natural, holistic.
Okay.
Holistic.
Okay.
So not going to the doctor where they throw Effexor at you. More functional medicine where they look at your whole body, where they look at your body as a whole.
I like that, where it's all
Right.
connected.
Right.
For sure.
So that's how people are leaning towards these days. So you can use, your benefit towards, acupuncture, chiropractor visits, and any of those functional medicine doctors if they accept. Because a lot of them don't get covered on Marketplace. They won't cover that kind of thing.
Interesting.
Most. I'm not saying all, most.
All right. Well, for listeners, you got to double check your insurance, and you heard it here right from the source. You don't have to wait for open enrollment. Check it tomorrow. See how much it costs. Give Kim a call. See if she can save you some money, get you some better coverage. Let people know what's the best way to find you.
They can go on my website, HessInsuranceSolutions.com.
HESS?
HESS, like the gas station.
Gotcha.
InsuranceSolutions.com. And they can book on there, or they can call me at 919-909-2145.
There you go. You heard it here right from the source. I really want to thank you for coming by. This was a lot of fun. Not really at all what I thought we were going to talk about, but it is way more important than I think anybody really understands, because
it's confusing.
Well, it's very confusing, but it's also like, it's kind of under the same umbrella of investing, in that, I mean, nobody thinks about it till it's a little late. And it's like, if you had started at 20, like, your health insurance knowledge would be infinitely better before things started breaking down, just like investing. If you had started at 20 instead of 40, everything would have compounded and you would have been in a better spot, and yada, yada, yada. So it's just a matter of really at least for me specifically, it's a matter of like, this knowledge is not that readily available.
And you want to get private health insurance before something does happen to you, like a heart attack or cancer, because then you won't qualify for these underwritten plans.
But they will keep you on if you're already there.
Correct.
Okay. So you can't get booted from your health insurance that you've already qualified for.
Because you were low risk when we signed you up.
Right. And there's an equation where you understand a percentage of us might get heart problems later on. Interesting. Okay. So don't wait till you need it. Get it now. It's like car
and don't
insurance.
Wait till open enrollment. Do it now.
Yeah. Forget open enrollment. This is useless. Yeah. Do it right now. That's so, And then all those Marketplace letters that are very unattractive and confusing, you can just light them on fire. You don't ever have to deal with them ever again. Yeah. Because I feel like I'm a record on repeat. I thought that was the way. Forget about the only way.
So
I just thought it was the
else.
way. Like, the highway goes this way.
That's what everybody else thinks.
Yeah.
And then they go on there and they put their name and phone number in the system, and people call them over and over and over.
Yeah. And then let's not forget, they're not fun to deal with. Whereas if somebody goes through you and they have an issue, they can just call you directly and be like, how do I proceed? Whereas
I'm their personal broker.
Whereas I had nobody, and I had a foot surgery that was covered, and then my insurance got canceled without me knowing, due to them having the wrong phone number on file and an expired credit card. This is like the simplest thing ever to fix. And then I had the surgery, And then after the surgery was done, they told me I didn't have insurance.
Of course.
And they sent me, you know, a $7,000 bill. And I was,
that's crazy.
yeah, I was like, you're out of your mind if you think you're getting, like, I already paid the $6,000 covered by, like, that would have been out of pocket. And then then they hit me up for another $7,000 that was supposed to be covered. And I was like, not going to happen.
With ours,
yeah,
you are able to speak to somebody that shops for you for a place to get your surgery, and they set up the appointment for you. So everything's taken care of.
Yeah. To be fair, all of that was fine. And I did eventually get through to someone on through the marketplace who was like, here's the appeal process, here's the packet. And I did all that, and I did, in fact, win. But it was like weeks or months, and everybody I spoke to was like, this is your fault, you should have, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then I finally got some lady on the phone who was like, it says here it got canceled after 2 months of no credit card.
You probably always talk to somebody different when you call too, which is so
every
annoying.
time, and they have to literally be like, I need to put you on hold and read the notes of your case.
And then you got to repeat everything
right.
over
and then
over.
I just have to keep telling somebody, this is all for an expired credit card. Like, this is not, I'm not a scam. This, like, it's just an expired credit. It's been on auto pay. Look.
Let me check the notes.
Yeah. Then I finally found some lady who just literally said, and I quote, we tried to reach you month 1, tried to reach you month 2, they cancel it. We have a policy where you get 3 months.
But they had the wrong phone number.
Right, but she just said, we have a policy for 3 months. We canceled it at 2.
Oh.
And I was like, that's your policy.
Right.
She was like, yeah. And I was like, so she was like, we're going to take care of this. I was like, we're going to give you retroactive coverage and blah, 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 blah. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And I was like, thank you.
Well, you're lucky because a lot of times you don't win.
Yeah.
The patient doesn't win. We have a patient advocacy team too. So if you get a bill and all of a sudden you're charged, $100 for an aspirin, that's ridiculous. Or they code something wrong and it says preventative, you're supposed to be preventative, and they code it different. You can talk to them and they will take care of that for you. So they take care of all that instead of you having to call back and forth.
Yeah,
because
it's like it's everybody always plays like that's not my job.
Right.
When I got the bill from the lady at the desk at the foot surgery person, she's like, all I can do is take your credit card to pay for it, or have you talk to this lady in financial services. And I was like, no, I don't need a payment plan.
And then you
like
talk
that's
to Betty
not
in financial services, and you get sent somewhere else.
100%.
And that's the doctor, but the doctor doesn't work here anymore. So
right, or the doctor's
screwed.
not in charge of the insurance claim. You have to do, like, that's not the doctor's problem. And I'm like, well,
but they're
you
the
guys,
ones that coded it.
yeah, so. I was like, wait a minute, you told me I was covered for $14,000 surgery. You can't just not, like, I would have not gotten the surgery. I would have said, hold the knife.
Right.
Let me call my people if you're having an issue with my insurance. I would have discovered all of this and been like, oh, here's the expiration date for the expired credit card. Put everything back the way it was, and let's go with the you know what I mean? But instead, it was not my problem, not my job. And I had heard all of those horror stories of people having this happen and never winning, that I didn't even want to fight it. And it was my mother, shout out to Beth, who was like, no way, you are not just going to take that. Call somebody, fight this, do something. And I was like, I just don't want to. I don't want to win. I don't have the numbers memorized, blah, blah, blah. And then a week later, she was like, call this phone number. It's somebody who will help. And I was like, okay. And sure enough, like I got it taken care of. But
that's awesome.
One battle.
We have it's called Healthcare Ninja also. It's a program. So if you owe a lot and you can't figure it out, the lawyers, it's a lawyer and a doctor, they will fight for that and get those prices down for you too. So if you owe astronomical amounts of medical bills, that's another thing I can help with.
Okay, so in the health world, short of what the doctor does, you can frickin' help with everything.
I can, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, well...
options for everything.
Yeah, I mean, I got to throw you under the bus a little bit because you need to advertise more.
I know.
Like, oh my God, how do people not know this?
I know.
Like, are there? Okay, so another question, if you have a minute, how like, are there a lot of private healthcare agents pushing this out there? Because
Yes, but
you're the first person and even when we met and had the drink at the Wrap, I didn't realize that you did private. You were just like, oh, I'm in healthcare. And I was like, I've got healthcare.
Maybe specify, because when I say health insurance, everybody shuts down and they go, ugh.
I 100% shut down.
Nobody wants
we
to
had a
talk
nice
about
conversation about not our jobs
Yeah.
over beers.
Yeah.
And then I was like, cool, I'm going to go meet 70 other people and get a taco because they were giving out free Mexican food. But yeah, I had no idea. I literally thought that you were like somebody who helps deal with the marketplace.
Right. No.
And I was like, so you just don't work till November, and when it opens,
I'm just hanging out.
You can't be spoken to because you're doing it with 75 people a day. Like that's what's going on in my head. I was like, what? So she's like, why is this not so readily available?
I think people they're just conditioned. Open enrollment, social media or TV, the news. You know, all you see are Blue Cross Blue Shield or United Healthcare or those commercials.
Because
they
everywhere.
Own everything.
Right. Because obviously you're bad for them. Yeah. You're bad for their business.
Absolutely.
Everything, unfortunately, is not about health. It's unfortunately, even for you, I know you're a good person, but it's all about dollars and those big companies.
Especially those big companies.
Right, especially, but you guys aren't saints. Like, let's be clear. Everybody has a pool to heat and a house to air condition, and nobody's a saint, and nobody's doing it for free. No one's giving away bread without some agenda. So, but obviously, the giant ones that are getting a giant government subsidy are not enjoying you guys poaching their people.
No,
because that's just dollars taking away from them, and less of a potential. Less people, less government check they're getting.
But it's benefiting the people.
No, obviously what you're doing is benefiting the people. That's why I want to push this out there because
I want to be a resource.
Yeah.
Even if I don't write you a policy, I want to be a good resource and steer you in the right direction for the best possible care that you need.
Yeah.
In your whatever your situation is at the moment. Because your situation might change too.
Right.
You might make more money. You might
change businesses.
Need that $0 subsidy right now just because that's the only thing you can afford, and that's fine. But eventually you want to get away from that.
Do you have other than the umbrella of small business owner, do you have like some preferred clients that you really enjoy working for? Like you hate roofers and love contractors or something like that?
No, I can write anybody, to be honest with you. I like helping small business owners that are, just getting started and, they don't have a lot. When you start up, you don't have a lot of money to spend on other things. You're going to spend it, put it back in your business, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So.
And insurance is one of those things where like literally the money vanishes and it sure seems like you get nothing for it.
Right.
Until you, of course, need it. Yeah.
Right. Like you're paying money waiting for something to happen to you.
Right. It's like car insurance.
That should not be how it is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I really just want to thank you again. And for listeners, don't sleep on it. Really double check your numbers. If you can pay half, think about what that money could do. And once again, it's HessInsurance.com.
HessInsuranceSolutions.com.
And the number?
919-909-2145.
There you go. You heard it here first. And as always, the Orange Hammer Podcast is on Instagram, Facebook. We're on YouTube. You can email me, corb@wstg.com. Call me, 845-489-6057. You want to come on the podcast, you want me to talk about something specific, or you need work in the triangle. Thanks so much for listening. Bye, everybody.